Welcome to Grow on the Go, your on-the-go spot for learning and development at UC Berkeley. In today's episode, we're talking about job mastery, one of the 5 performance indicators in the achievement criteria. Grow on the Go is produced by People and Organization Development in Berkeley People and Culture. Hello, and welcome to the Grow on the Go series on the achievement criteria, the set of performance indicators for non-represented employees. Wrapping up our series on each performance indicator, today we will be unpacking job mastery. Crushing your job, yes, let's do it! But for this, let's begin at the beginning. Before we even get into Achieve Together, have you read your current job description? Do you know where to find it? Do you know where to find the current UC Berkeley Job Builder tool, which will give you the template for your JD, allowing you to check your job requirements against the campus standard and Achieve Together? If you answered no to these questions, don't fret, don't worry. Check out the resources in the video description below before moving forward. This is a fairly expansive set of behaviors, skills, attributes, and competencies because job mastery covers many of the mechanics of your role, scope of authority, skills required to perform the role based on the nature of your position description, employee expectations, and how your manager plays a part in connecting each team member appropriately to what they are responsible for focusing on and completing. Spoiler alert, everyone requires and deserves a different approach to enable success. We'll go into that later when we unpack each performance level. So, how do we define job mastery? Demonstrates the knowledge, skills, and abilities that result in high performance contributions within the scope of an employee's job description. So, has the right stuff to do the job and does the job they were hired to do. In this video, I'll be taking you through each box in the achievement criteria left to right, demonstrating the needs attention to well done to standout throughput for each bullet point. At this time, I'm going to start out with how managers show up in job mastery. Okay, starting with the first shaded box, that's 5 boxes down if you are following along on the achievement criteria guide, let's first review needs attention. Does not effectively manage, actively develop, or support application of job-related learning to improve the performance of members on the team. So full stop isn't supporting the growth of the team, isn't bringing the right learning solutions to get folks on track, and isn't effectively managing because they aren't holding their team accountable. Now let's take a moment to review what it states in the well done performance level. Effectively pursues and encourages opportunities to improve the skill set of the members of the team. As we navigate into the well done space here, we notice the manager is doing a lot of the work of developing each person in the group effectively. In standout, for the first shaded row, is sought out as a subject matter expert, mentor, and advisor, resulting in exceptional performance contributions. Excels as a coach, resulting in consistent, outstanding performance contributions of the team. These are such important notes because it demonstrates how high-performing managers not only excel in their roles as exceptional contributors, but also through coaching their team to success. Moving down to the second shaded row, the last row in job mastery, needs attention states, makes little or no effort to engage or enable employees. Does not observe or discuss performance or development goals. Why is this in needs attention? Well, regardless of a manager's intention, behaviors such as this are generally perceived as belonging to a person who isn't interested or invested in the success of the team. At UC Berkeley, managers are not just contributors who sign time cards, they're people managers, and as well done states, effectively engage and enable employees by managing individuals in team performance, accountability, change, development, and recognition. So these managers are responsible for paving the way for individuals to thrive, for the team to be successful, for keeping everyone accountable to successful work outcomes and how we treat one another, for involving the team in gear shifting as priorities change, for enabling employee growth and appropriately recognizing efforts and contributions. In Standout, these individuals consistently manage and enable the team and organization to the highest levels of employee engagement, work satisfaction, performance contributions, and commitment to the organization. They lead and motivate by example, and they inspire staff to perform at their best every single day. All right, so that's a really tall order, and the type of culture we are building at UC Berkeley is reflective of these high ideals and attributes. The manager's contributions in job mastery are only one side of that coin. Considering how all non-represented employees show up in job mastery, let's start from the top and work ourselves to the right and down. There's a lot in there, so I'm going to be headed through this fairly rapidly. Does not consistently demonstrate core knowledge, skills, and competencies required to perform the job functions effectively. Sounds like language that came from your job description, right? Yeah, you are right. Dust that job description off as we are going through this section so you can localize the descriptions to your world. What's really noticeable in this word here is consistently. What about well done for the first box? The word that consistently shows up again and again in a different frame consistently demonstrates core knowledge, skills, and competencies to effectively do the job, and may occasionally exceed expected performance of work against the employee's current job description. So, doing what you were hired to do really well, and sometimes performing at higher levels than is called for within the nature of your position description. In the standout level, consistently demonstrates, key word here, expertise of core job knowledge functions, responsibilities, competencies, and consistently proposes enhancement recommendations in current job and new work opportunities. In the second box down, we focus on skill sets further, makes little or no effort to improve current skills or obtain new skills, resulting in unsatisfactory performance contributions. In this case, you might know what skills are needed to improve, but you might not be doing the necessary work to mitigate poor performance contributions. In the well done performance level, takes direction to pursue opportunities to improve current skill set or obtain new skills and apply them to enhance performance contributions. So this is someone who learns about ways that they can improve their skill sets, gets connected with the right learning to improve, and then applies those skills to strengthen their work. In the standout level, effectively pursues opportunities to improve current skill set or obtain new skills and applies them to enhance performance contributions without their manager's intervention. So, whereas well done is about that responsiveness to take actionable feedback, standout, on the other hand, is shown when an employee takes full ownership of what they need to improve, gets connected with the right learning to improve the right skill sets, and shows up as a stronger performer because of that self-directed planning. At the end of the day, the manager still needs to be there to be supportive of the journey and to make sure that people are growing in directions that are aligned with the team's priorities, but the ownership of the journey is in the hands of the employee. In the third box down, in job mastery for non-represented employees, needs attention, does not make decisions within the scope of their role and the expected guidelines in the job description. Well done, makes sound decisions within the scope of their role and expected guidelines of the job description. Standout demonstrates expert decision making. Notice that key phrase again, expert, expertise, and consistently promotes and enables sound decision making both upstream and downstream from the current role. A standout performer helps everyone understand and get connected to their piece of the puzzle. If you're an employee noticing others making decisions outside their scope of role, or noticing a manager enabling decision making outside of scope of role, do something, say something, and let's get that issue resolved. Employees need to be working within their scope of role so that their neighbor can do the same. The more we calibrate and have more alignment on the expectations outlined for us as part of our job, the more efficient the entire organization becomes. The fourth box down, in job mastery for all non-represented employees, For needs attention, we see someone who is consistently unresponsive or not receptive to direction, feedback, coaching, or development. Does not fulfill commitments and goals. In other words, insubordination and poor performance. Moving to the right in well done, consistently responsive and or receptive to direction, coaching, feedback, and or development, consistently fulfills commitments on goals. One side note here, the feedback needs to be appropriately actionable for the employee to appropriately address the feedback. If you are an employee receiving feedback that is about your identities or is workplace inappropriate, have a conversation with your HR partner to identify some ways that you might explore accountability. Finally, in standout, takes ownership of development, embraces and seeks feedback, is highly coachable, anticipates guidance and direction, improves performance through ongoing continuous improvement, and consistently exceeds expectations when commitments and goals are made. In other words, is a really high bar and model employee. But the transparency in the achievement criteria helps everyone set a high bar and to work with their supervisor in reaching that level. So, as you plan to have your Achieve Together check-in conversations, think of actions you've taken in the previous conversation period that exemplify the behaviors we just discussed. This will help you to share with your manager how your performance aligns with these 3 performance levels. And if you're a manager, think of the behaviors that you can share with your employee that align with these 3 performance levels. This will ensure that everyone is on the same page in striving for excellence. And lastly, think about how you will plan and discuss your goals. Use this list and the ideas that we've talked about today to build goals that will allow you to maximize your approach for job mastery at UC Berkeley. Thanks for joining us in the Achievement Criteria series, going through the 5 performance indicators. The next step in this journey is to continue on to the next video, how to determine and document performance levels with corresponding numeric ratings. We do that once a year, so all of the great information on how managers do that is up next. Thank you so much for joining us.